If that happens, Blain, then the college football world is going to lose their minds in the next 4 weeks. Because that's total chaos. That's the Joker. That's Arkham Asylum. That's Where's Harvey Dent to save us? Oh, no. What is up, everybody? Thank you for hopping on another edition of Crain and Company. Remember, without you, there is no us. Channel's growing like a weed, and that's because of you guys. I hope you know how much we appreciate you. Got another great show for you today. The second one that we've put out today. Go check out our Auburn A&M preview, all of our previews. We got Georgia, Bama, we got LSU, Ole Miss, we got Oregon, Penn State. We did our power rankings yesterday. We're trying to give you as much content as humanly possible. And today, it's Tuesday, so you know at 2 o'clock, our college football playoff projections and rankings, our individual ones, are about to be shown to you. And there's been some changes, and there's some disagreement, but that's how it should be. Now, as usual, speaking of disagreement, my guy David Cohn to the left here, former Michigan quarterback. We disagree on a couple things, but it's going to be fun to dive in. And then to the right, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver, and a man whose fantasy team was dead on arrival last night until Mark Andrews. Just quickly, how many were you down? How many did you need? And how many did Mark score?
I was down with Mark walking the game 112 to 91.
So you're thinking it's over?
It's over. I have a 1% chance to win. Mark Andrews got 1 point the last 2 weeks in fantasy.
Wow.
I'm not even watching the game out of disgust, out of what my team
You
is
boycotted
doing.
it.
Then I get a call from Crain.
Yeah.
Over here. He's like, yo, dude, Mark Andrews is balling right now. I'm like, what? So I look at my phone. He's got 17 points. So I turn the game on. He hadn't caught a catch since I've turned the game on. I'm like, why did I even turn it on? This is my fault. Last drive. No one cares. They're down by, 2 scores? He goes and catches a touchdown pass, finishes with 27
What a win. And that's your money league.
And that's my big
Wait, you
boy
needed
money.
the touchdown catch to win?
Yeah.
Wow.
He sent me a screenshot. He was down 4 when I called him. It was after Mark Andrews caught his first touchdown pass. And I didn't know how close Blain's fantasy score was. So he answered and then sent me a screenshot of what the score was. And he was down 4 at that point. And then Mark Andrews there at the end.
Wait, I thought y'all were playing each other.
No. I'm not in this.
In our family league,
Yeah, I'm not in this.
y'all are playing the...
I destroyed him.
You're on a roll.
God. It was the ass
roll.
beating of a lifetime.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's not a money
That's
league.
okay.
Yeah, I was playing Lamar in both my leagues, and he didn't play great. So
No.
it's good for me.
It's good for you. All right. Well, let's get into it. And in the comments, I want to know, you tell us, which one of our playoff projection do you think will be the most accurate? And I do want to let you know, this is a projection. This is what we think is going to happen. The power rankings yesterday, that's a snapshot in time of where we're at. So I want to make sure to make that distinction. So let's go ahead and bring up the glorious, the beautiful, the illustrious Jake Crain's college football playoff week 5 projection. Number 1, we got a new one. All right, because I think Miami's going undefeated. The more I look at it, I know they play Florida State. It's in Tallahassee, right, David? Yes. That's where that game is. I still like Miami in that one. I've got Miami as my new number 1. I've got Ohio State as my number 2. They were my number 1. Remember, I had Ohio State going 11-1 before the season kicked off. I got them losing to Michigan last game of the year, but winning the Big Ten title. I've got LSU 3, and I'm going to be honest. I'm a little nervous about that one.
Are you nervy, really?
I'm a little nervy about that one. We're going to see Ole Miss, them go on the road and play Ole Miss this weekend, but they haven't done anything for me to drop them. So I've got LSU at 3 and then Penn State at 4. If you watch our Penn State-Oregon preview, you're probably going to figure out who I think is going to win that game. But those are my top 4 teams that are getting the bye.
So you have Ohio State winning the Big Ten and beating Penn State in the Big Ten championship.
Yes.
You do not have Ohio State going undefeated during the regular
Nope.
season.
That's why I have Miami. I got Miami going undefeated now, winning the ACC championship. That's why I have them number 1, because I don't think even a 12-1 Big Ten champion with Ohio State would be number 1 over an undefeated Miami out of the ACC with the games they've won. All right. Go
Remember
ahead.
4 weeks ago, though, before the season started, we were saying, would it be crazy to not have an SEC team be one of those top 2 slots? And even right now, we have enough data points for you to say, well, I think actually the top SEC team might be the 3rd seed.
Yeah. I think it's very possible when you look at the carnage. What's going to be interesting, and I don't want to jump to Blain's, is how much carnage is there in the Big 12, and does the winner of the Big 12 championship get a top 5 seed? I think it's probably unlikely when you look at what's going to happen, but I don't want to put the cart before the horse. You can tell by mine that I don't think it's going to happen. All right, Let's go to the 5-12 matchup because I got a new group of 5. I had Georgia as my 5th seed last time, and here's what. Okay, why are you calling timeout?
It's just like the last time I looked at it, UNLV was undefeated, right?
They are, but let me
Disgusting.
again.
I'm sorry,
I picked UNLV before the season to be my group of 5 representative. But I also have to live in the reality of where I think we are right now. And I think if you look at Memphis's schedule, after beating Arkansas, they get USF at home. They get Tulane at home. They win those 2. They get Navy at home last game of the season. If they go undefeated and UNLV goes undefeated, I think Memphis will be the group of 5 representative. I hope it's UNLV. I hope Memphis is the 12.
If Memphis loses one game.
If Memphis loses one and UNLV goes undefeated, it'll be UNLV. But I don't think Memphis right now is going to lose a game. That's why getting over that Arkansas hump was so big. Now, they're going to lose to Georgia if they play them in this one, but that's my 5-12. All right, my 6-11, and I flip-flop Florida State and Miami as far as which team would get a bye. I didn't have FSU 1 last week, but I had them in the top 4. I've got FSU at 6, and I've still got Texas at 11. Remember, I said I think a 9-3 Texas team gets in if Notre Dame does not get in, and I still feel like Notre Dame is not going to get in. So I've got Florida State 6, Texas 11. My 7-10 Big 12 matchup. And I know people will be like, oh, well, that's BS having to play a team from the same conference. No. We saw it last year as well. Give me Texas Tech, Iowa State in the opener of the college football playoff, the 7-10 matchup with Texas Tech being the 7. What I basically did was replace Utah with Texas Tech because I had Utah in it last week. I believe I had Utah at 6. They lose to Texas Tech at home. I know Texas Tech's got to go on the road at Arizona State, which I think is winnable. And now that road game at Kansas State doesn't look nearly as daunting. And Iowa State gave me no reason to leave them out. I had them as the 10 seed last week. I kept them as the 10 seed.
So that would be your Big 12 championship game as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rematch.
Okay.
Okay, so before you had Iowa State winning the Big 12 and Utah.
No, I had Utah winning the Big 12.
Okay, so now
beating
Texas.
Iowa State,
Yeah.
yes. Now I have Texas Tech winning it, beating Iowa State.
Okay.
And then my 8-9. I've got Oklahoma at 8. I've got Oregon at 9. And before the year, I picked Oregon to go 9-3 and not make the playoff. I would not be shocked if that happens, but it's impossible for me to leave them off right now. So again, my 5-12 Georgia Memphis, 6-11 Florida State Texas, my 7-10 Texas Tech Iowa State, my 8-9 Oklahoma Oregon. And I just find it fascinating that I'm sitting here looking at mine in real time, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 SEC. I've got 1, 2, 3 Big 10. I've got 2 Big 12, and I've got 2 ACC. I did not think that I would end up with 2 from each one of those conferences. I thought you'd get 1 from one of them and 2 from the other. It's the parity this year is so much freaking fun. This whole thing could shift in 1 week. Georgia plays Bama. We got FSU Miami coming up. We got Texas Oklahoma coming up. We got LSU at Ole Miss this weekend. Penn State hosting Oregon. There is so much good that is going to come out of the parity from this year. It's the most excited I have been at this point in the college football season, and I can't remember.
I love it. Oklahoma, Oregon, sign me up right now. The Dylan Gabriel Bowl. I'd love to see that
100%.
right this second. Okay, 2 questions. Okay. Texas, let's start with Texas.
Yep.
They already have a loss, right? They're going to play Oklahoma in Red River, and you have Oklahoma in the playoff as well. Then they go to Georgia, and then they get Texas A&M at the end of the year at home. So forecast the rest of their season based off what you've seen with Arch and, I mean, still having a top 5 defense, the whole thing.
So it's exactly where I had them in the preseason. I had Texas at 9-3, sneaking in the playoff because I didn't have Notre Dame in to open up that spot. I think they lose to Georgia, which I picked. I picked them to lose to Oklahoma before the season. I think them and Texas A&M are both fighting for a playoff spot once again, like last year, at the end of the year. And I think Texas at 8-3 wins that game to go 9-3. I think A&M will still be ranked decently high, and I think that's the win that ultimately gets Texas in there. I think even as bad as he's played, the Arch Manning and Texas factor is a huge draw. So it's actually dialed up exactly how I had it before the season. So I'm sticking with it to this point, a 9-3 Texas team, which Texas is the only 9-3 team that I have in there.
Which, the thing to me that could offset that is another 10-2 Big Ten team.
So-
Especially the way, I had put forth the proposition that it was going to be Illinois. Obviously, I'm going to show you an update here in a second, Indiana, the way they played. But also, just think about a team like Michigan. Just because
For sure.
your specific scenario right now, you have Michigan beating the Buckeyes at the end of the year, but you still have OSU at number 2. So what do you have Michigan going? It must be worse than 10-2, or else they would probably get the nod over Texas.
Yeah, so again, this is where the preseason projection runs into what I am seeing in real time right now. I have Michigan making the playoff before the season, going 10-2, losing to Oklahoma, and then against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Because remember, I have Michigan beating Ohio State in the last game of the regular season, and then there being a rematch in the Big Ten championship game, and Ohio State winning that one to knock Michigan out of the top 4. And that's when I have Penn State moving up to that 4 spot, even though they didn't play in the Big Ten championship game. To be honest with you, the Texas one, I was nervous about when I picked it before the season. I'm exactly the same nervous about them getting in at 9-3, but just something in my gut and instinct is telling me that they would. And at this point with Michigan, I like what I saw last week against Nebraska, but it's still not enough. And again, I hope I'm wrong. I'd rather my preseason projection be right than this be right as we sit here in real time. I have Michigan ending up at 9-3. Because can we pull up their schedule?
I got it
real
right
quick?
here. So
Run through the rest of
Wisconsin
it.
at home at
They'll win that one.
USC.
That one's going to be interesting. I think the game at USC is going to be interesting.
Washington at home.
I've got Washington winning that one. Don't forget.
At Michigan State.
Yep.
Purdue at home. At Northwestern. At Maryland. And then obviously the game.
Yeah.
Follows at home.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think it's a little bit too early to tell with Michigan, especially with such a young quarterback, whether or not they're a 10-2 or even a 9-3 team right this second. But I do agree with you that if let's say Michigan does beat the Buckeyes, but they're a 9-3 team, I don't know if that schedule right there is strong enough to jump, even though you would have a win over a team that Texas lost to. But 10-2? If 10-2
Michigan,
and one of your losses is at Oklahoma and they're a playoff team,
10-2 Michigan,
and you have a win over the team that Texas lost to in the opening game, you're looking good.
Again, originally before the season when we did this, I had Michigan 10-2, beating Ohio State, playing in the Big Ten championship, but losing it to go 10-3. But I still had them making the college football playoff. Because I don't think they're going to be kicked out of the playoff if they lose the Big Ten championship game to a team that they just beat the week before in Ohio State. So that's where I have it. Boll & Branch summer's packed schedule is done. Now it's about those solid fall weekends at home, catching the games on the couch and watching Crain and Company, and actually getting some decent sleep. Sometimes the best investment is in what helps you recharge, and Boll & Branch's bed bundles are perfect for creating a sanctuary of comfort. Effortless upgrade, you'll get everything you need with the ease of a click. There's bundle options for every kind of refresh, from new sheets and blankets to a complete transformation, bundles for every kind of sleeper with curated bedding, for your coolest, coziest, or softest night's sleep, made with 100% organic cotton and durable designs and customizable colors. Fellas, I lay my beautiful head down on it every single night, and it's been fantastic since we've got the product, and my wife loves it.
Dude, my favorite thing is the waffle blanket.
Hey, the waffle blanket.
Waffle blanket.
The waffle blanket goes hard.
Top tier.
Plus, it comes with a 30-night worry-free guarantee, so you can rest easy knowing you're covered. Boll & Branch makes upgrading your bed easier than ever with curated bundles for a sanctuary of comfort. And for a limited time, get 20% off bed bundles at bollandbranch.com/booster. That's BOLLANDBRANCH.com/booster to save up to 20%. Exclusions apply.
Okay, so another question here. You've moved Memphis to your group of 5 representative, and remember out there, a group of 5 team is going to make the college football playoff, right? Mandatory based off the format. What if, now that Memphis has a great win over Arkansas, what if they move forward undefeated and they lose to Navy on the road at the end of the year, but Navy has a loss to Notre Dame?
I think it depends on how UNLV finishes. I think if UNLV goes undefeated, now, I know that win against UCLA doesn't look like the sexiest. You had to come back and beat Miami, Ohio. But what the committee told us last year was wins matter, right? I don't care what they say this year. You can talk about strength of schedule, this side or the other. If UNLV goes undefeated and Memphis has a loss and Navy has a loss, and for Memphis to go undefeated, they'd have to beat USF, so USF would be out with 2 losses. I think they put an undefeated UNLV in, but I don't think Memphis is going to lose. I think Memphis is going to beat South Florida. I think Memphis is going to beat Tulane, just from what I've seen, and then I think Memphis is going to beat Navy at the end of the year. But to me, if you're an undefeated group of 5 going up against and 11-1 group of 5. I think they're going to take the undefeated team. That's what I think they're going to do.
I love it. All right, bring mine in. I mean, there's some great representation there, and if the ACC and the Big 12 can get multiple teams in, like that's
for sure
volumes to the way they've been able to move things. All right, I have a little bit of movement here at the top, and I just want everyone to remember what Jake said at the beginning. Our projections for the college football playoff are different than our current power ranking. I think Miami right now has the best resume in the country. I voted them to be ranked number 1 in our power ranking. Obviously, this college football playoff format is a projection towards the end of the year. I have Florida State at number 1 now. I moved them up because, look, you're going to get to host Miami at home in Doak Campbell. And then the 2 other games that we had sort of penciled in before the year are at Clemson, right?
Yep.
That game has looked more winnable than it ever has.
Looks a lot different now, doesn't it?
And at Florida.
Okay. That looks a lot
Who knows what the situation is going to be in Gainesville by the time you have to
I may be
them.
coaching Florida by that.
So you got Florida State beating Miami twice.
Well, that gets to the next point I was about to make. The way Georgia Tech's playing is 1 win over Miami in the regular season enough to block Miami out of the ACC championship game. It would require someone else only losing a
See, that's such a great point because Georgia Tech doesn't play Miami, do they play Miami
No,
this
look,
year?
they already beat Clemson. They played Temple. You got Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse, NC State, Boston College, Pitt, and then Georgia's an out-of-conference game. That's Georgia Tech the rest of the year.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So you got to think about that here. And at which case, Georgia Tech is going to be making a case for the college football playoff if they find themselves the loser of the ACC championship game like a year ago, SMU.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
What's going to be crazy, Coney, is what if Georgia Tech goes 10-2 during the regular season, but makes the ACC championship game because they lose to Georgia, which is out of conference.
Yep.
Then they lose the ACC championship game to go 10-3. Is it a second straight year where a 10-win ACC team doesn't make the college football playoff? Because remember, Miami went 10-2. And I know they ended up losing the bowl game, but they went 10-2 and didn't get in.
It's just something to think about. And again, I think Miami is built so well. They could go on the road and beat Florida State and go undefeated, just like what you have in yours. I understand that. That's why I have them 5th right here. I'll get to them in a second. But right this second, Florida State in the number 1 spot. And also, let's be honest, the win over Alabama is looking better and better the way Alabama's been playing.
Sure.
Sort of the opposite of LSU's win over Clemson, the way Clemson's been playing. Either way, so I sort of moved the rest of them down a bit here with Penn State still winning the Big Ten. You get a great test this weekend in Happy Valley. Beat Oregon. Show the world you're capable of that to build up some momentum before you go on the road to Columbus. If Oregon's able to come into Happy Valley and get a win, we're going to have a lot of movement here, obviously. I have Oklahoma at 3. I'm not moving from that position. I know a lot of people are panicking a little bit with the way that Auburn played them close. I actually think it works in Oklahoma's favor, the way that you were able to win a tight, ugly game against a scrappy team who sort of had their backs against the wall. You're going to need wins like that. Buckeyes stay at 4 to me, the way that the schedule works out. Look, regardless of what happens in the Penn State game, the Big Ten championship game is kind of going to be the ultimate decider of the order, I think, here with some of these teams in the Big Ten. Like I said, Miami at 5. I think ACC is going to get 2 in, and one of them is not Clemson. How much things have changed in the last 4 weeks. Playing Navy in the 12th seed. I'm not moving Navy yet. That was my preseason group of 5 team. Obviously, Memphis with a statement win. South Florida still has a chance. We've talked about UNLV. But until Navy shows me something that they can't be the group of 5 representative, I'm sticking with the service academy.
I love it.
All right, 6-11 over there. Georgia as the 6th
Oh, my
seed.
God.
Alabama as the 11, which we're getting that game this weekend. So that would be a rematch. I'm sticking with Alabama in the college football playoff right now. What's interesting, though, is the way LSU, Georgia, Alabama, and Oklahoma could possibly cannibalize themselves.
That's, God, that'd be so awesome.
7-10 for me. Look, I had to move Texas Tech up. I mean, think about all of the statements they made in a single game playing at Utah. 1, we can beat a quality team like Utah, first off. 2, we can beat a quality team like that on the road. 3, we can win when our starting quarterback goes out of the game. 4, we can win when we commit 14 penalties and we don't even move
turn
to a
the ball
silent
over.
snap count
Yeah.
and turn the football over. They made so many statements in a single game about how they're built. And honestly, we could talk about the physicality of the defense, but how about the high IQ with punching the football out multiple times? That's coaching to me. I like Texas Tech now moving into the college football playoff picture, facing Oregon. That game would be in Lubbock. I mean, can we see it tomorrow?
That'd be so much fun. I love this so much.
The last
God,
one,
I love this
8-9.
sport.
Talking about a matchup I'd love to see. LSU as the 8 playing Indiana right now as the 9. To me, you can't beat a team that I had in the college football playoff in Illinois. You can't beat them 63-10 and not move up on my board.
Yeah. David, so a couple things. I wrote down a couple questions. One, you don't have Michigan up here either.
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. So you're kind of in the same boat as I am.
With an 18-year-old quarterback, it's a long road. I think the schedule is favorable, though. The schedule is favorable. Obviously, you already have one loss to a team that we all view as a really good Oklahoma team who's going to be in the college football playoff. That's going to work out in Michigan's favor. I do think they are built to be a college football playoff contender. Can you go prove it to the rest of the world at USC? Right? You said at USC and Washington at home back-to-back weeks. After those 2 games, we'll know a lot.
I cannot wait to find out about Washington again at home against Ohio State in a big one with Damon Williams coming up. My second question, obviously there has to be massive carnage in the Big 12 for them to get one team in. So do you feel like either Texas Tech just runs through it and there's carnage everywhere else and it's blatantly obvious that Texas Tech should be the only team in the Big 12? Or is it something where you have 2 teams that there's been carnage everywhere meeting in the Big 12 championship, and the winner of that is the only one that's going to get into the college football playoff?
It's a good question. I think the Big 12 already from the jump has a tall task to get multiple teams in. And that's just, preseason with everything that's working against them. But they've put up a really good showing so far, but there already has been some carnage. Think about it. All of us pretty much had Kansas State as a contender to make the college football playoff. That ship has sailed. I had Baylor up until this week. I thought Baylor could win the conference. Now you lose to Arizona State at home. I think the ladder just gets steeper and steeper for Baylor. So then you start to talk about TCU. What's TCU's chances? I really like this TCU.
Big one against Arizona State. We got Timmy B coming on tomorrow. He's calling the game.
But on the Utah point, it's like, you lost 34-10?
Yeah.
You lost 34-10 at home. Style points in this sport matters in a way that it doesn't, say, in the NFL. Right?
Yeah, and
objective metrics.
You didn't bully Texas Tech the way that you needed to with your style of play to win that game. The last question I have for you. So when you look at the SEC here, with Oklahoma as the 3 seed, I'm assuming you have them winning the SEC championship game against Georgia, or is it against Alabama to possibly give Alabama a 3rd loss, and Georgia sitting there at 10-2 gets a better seed at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's a good question. Obviously, I had Texas and Georgia in a rematch of their regular season meeting in the SEC championship game. That was preseason. I've moved Texas out of here. So now, look, here's the way it plays out. Alabama goes to Georgia this weekend, right? Okay. Then they host LSU in Tuscaloosa. Okay. So that'll be November 8th.
Because you have no LSU in there.
And then they host Oklahoma November 15th. So one way or another, and this is one possible hole in the scenario that I've created here with the SEC teams is LSU, Georgia, Alabama, and Oklahoma. A lot of them play each other.
Yeah.
So that could create a scenario where that opens the door for like a Tennessee, but Tennessee also hosts Oklahoma. Or is Texas going to creep back in the way that you have them at what, the 11th seed?
Yeah. Yeah, I got Texas. Texas is the 11th seed, yeah. I mean, it's 4 SEC, 4 Big Ten. That's what a lot of us...
Oregon at the 10 seed. What do you have Oregon going through this year?
Yeah, this
feels a little high.
10 feels too high.
Yeah.
Well, is that a 9-3 Oregon, or is that a 10-2
I don't think
Oregon without a huge win?
I don't think Oregon can make it at 9-3.
Yeah, I don't
Not with this,
because that's why I have them 9-3 before the year not making it.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to go to Penn State this weekend. Then you get USC at home, and then they go to Washington. I think that it's a 10-2, which is what I had preseason. Yeah. Right. And I think that if Penn State's able to beat them, talking about boxing teams out of the conference championship game, Penn State could box Oregon out of the conference championship game with a win this weekend, and the Buckeyes could do that in a similar way to say, well, what I was saying last week is they could do that against Illinois. Now Indiana's already.
Could we go through Oregon's schedule real quick?
I got to pull it up.
There's
right
a point I want to make. Go through.
You're at Penn State. You have Indiana at home. You're at Rutgers, Wisconsin at home, at Iowa, Minnesota at home, USC at home, and at Washington.
Okay, so a 10-2 Oregon team gets in, but I can see them getting a high seed like that if that's a 10-2 without a huge win over a team, and then obviously not playing in the Big Ten championship game.
And then Oregon,
that lines up to me, David.
Oregon, Indiana.
Yeah.
You know, like who wins that game to determine the seeding?
God, it's going to be fun.
All right, David, pretty good. Pull mine up, guys. Let's go through it. The best looking guy. All right, there it is.
I remember that guy.
God, I know, right? I shaved the mustache off too. I don't know. It's just one of those mornings this morning. I just rebelled. I just woke up.
You are coming out of your cage as usual.
Yeah. Give me Miami at 1. Jake, I agree with you.
Come on.
I think they have the best chance right now to go undefeated. I mean, that game at Florida State.
Oh, damn. We got the same top 4.
Yeah. Ohio State at 2, LSU at 3, and Penn State at 4. Right now, I'm standing 10 toes down on LSU winning the SEC. Penn State, God, they're interesting. The more I look at them, the more I'm starting to shift that way. I don't know why. Maybe something just in the air. But we'll see this weekend against Oregon. Give me 5-12. Give me Georgia. Georgia versus USF. I still have USF in my group of 5. I mean, at the end of the day, I believe USF plays Memphis.
They do.
So we'll find out. And USF plays who?
Navy.
They play Navy. So which is fantastic to me. All 3 of our group of 5 teams are going to play each other. So we'll find out there. My 6-11, I got Oregon at 6. I think Oregon might drop a game against Penn State, 2 at most. And I don't think they'll be ranked that high with 2 losses. And I got Indiana at my 11. God, Kirk Cignetti's just figuring it out.
So that'll be a rematch.
That'll be a rematch for sure. I'm sure Kirk Cignetti's happy about that. And you go through Indiana's schedule. There's a couple more pieces on that schedule this year, landmine-wise, that they'll have to go through. All right, let's go to my 7-10. God, I want this one so bad. Oklahoma versus Tennessee. Just the style in this game, the fight that'll happen with the Josh Heupel coach team, John Mateer at quarterback. I think one just take the over. These 2 brands, and they'll play during the season, so this will be the second time they play. And my 8-9 is Florida State, Texas Tech. Only one Big 12 team in there for me. And I think Florida State, right now they lose to Miami in the ACC championship game. Thoughts, disagreements, comments? You're wrong.
You have 2 rematches.
Yeah.
So Oregon, Indiana would be a rematch in Eugene for the second time.
Yes.
Oklahoma, Tennessee would be a rematch, but this time it would be in Norman. Which,
Correct.
if Tennessee won that, we could have a rematch of last year's opening playoff game with
Ohio
Buckeyes,
State, Tennessee.
And if Florida State were to beat Texas Tech, we could have a rematch with Miami, FSU.
So obviously for this to work out, for Oregon to be the 6 and Indiana to be the 11, do you have Ohio State playing Penn State in the Big Ten championship game? Okay, so you must have Oregon beating Indiana in the regular season game for them to be the 6 and Indiana to be the 11.
Correct.
Okay, I get that. And then to kind of make the same point that I had about David where he had Texas Tech, you must think that there's going to be an absolute blood
carnage
in the Big 12.
Absolute carnage. Why would you not think there's going to be?
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying for Texas Tech to be the 9 seed, let me ask you this. Do you think does Florida State lose 2 games in the regular season then, or do you have them losing twice to Miami, once at home and then once in the ACC championship game to be the 8 seed?
I could see Florida losing 2 games.
Florida State?
Right now, they're only a touchdown favorite against Virginia on the road. I can see them dropping another game, but still making it to the ACC championship and losing to Miami.
Okay.
So I'm the only one with Alabama right now.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Which isn't a crazy thing to say.
Not at all. Not at all. Here's the thing.
Be surprised.
If Bama goes and beats Georgia this weekend, and again, we did a full preview on that game. We're going to do picks tomorrow with Tim Brando. If Bama goes and beats Georgia on the road this weekend, you've got to put them in the playoff projection.
And I'm the only one with Tennessee, I believe.
And the question now becomes, I don't think you can have them at 11.
So Tennessee, already with a loss against Georgia, will go to Alabama.
Yep.
So you have them winning that game?
Yep.
Okay. Then they host Oklahoma.
Yep.
Who's winning that game? Oklahoma?
Okay.
Okay. And then obviously they move forward and they beat Florida and Vanderbilt and all that stuff.
Well, there's a world, too, where Tennessee could go lose on the road to Alabama and still finish 10-2, and Bama could finish 9-3, and they get in over Bama, and they could be the 10 seed. There's a world in which Tennessee could lose that game and still get in, and Bama not get in.
1,000%.
When you look at the schedule. Again, that's what makes this so interesting. There's a lot of similarities there. So you have 2, 3, 4 SEC. You've got 1, 2, you have 4 Big Ten. Okay, so I'm the only one that has 3 Big Ten instead of 4, I guess, in mine.
Yeah, because you have 2 ACC, 2 Big 12.
Yep, that's right. So that's the difference there. Interesting. And again, nobody has Notre Dame. How crazy is this? I just want to put this
They're going to put Notre Dame in.
Think about, I don't think they will. Think about before the season, if I would have told you that during week 5, we would all have a number 1 team that is in the ACC, and it's not Clemson. And
Clemson not even being in the playoffs.
And Clemson not even, because they're out. Unless they win the ACC championship. They'd have to win the ACC championship for them to get in. Now, remember, the seeding rules are different this year.
Yeah.
Just because you win the conference championship does not guarantee you a top 4 seed and a bye. They're just going to seed you, which is the way that we should have done it from the beginning. But I think all these are plausible. They're similar in some ways. They're obviously different in others, but I think it's all plausible. And again, it's so much more fun right now than it's been in the past because of this pair.
What's one team y'all feel like you were missing? Not even that you wanted to put in there, but you just couldn't get yourself to. Because damn it, for me, it was Missouri.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say for me it's Missouri or Indiana.
Yeah, no Ole Miss.
For me, it was Tennessee.
Okay.
Tennessee. Yeah, it's look, if Indiana, and again, I know we went through that schedule. I think Indiana's got. I'll say this again about Oregon, and I always have to preface this with I love Dan Lanning. I have nothing against Oregon. I just wonder again about Oregon's front seven defensively and stopping the run, because if they cannot stop the run, Indiana's got a decent chance to go in there and win, I think, with the way that they play and the complementary football that they play as well.
But I'll tell you, I'll bring it up again. Georgia Tech. There is a a serious path there.
I mean, look who they play the rest of the year.
I mean, because we're going to end up doing this every week, and the closer we get to the end of the season, the better it's going to get. I just can't wait for the one person, all right, who's going to put Vanderbilt in there for the first time.
Here's the thing, though.
You're at Bama. Utah State this weekend, then you're at Bama.
I'll say this. Yeah, go through the rest of Vandy's schedule.
You have Utah State at home.
Okay.
You're at Alabama.
Okay.
LSU at home. Missouri at home. At Texas. Auburn at home. Kentucky at home. And at Tennessee.
Goodness gracious.
Man, even if they go on the road and beat Bama, I don't think I can put them in. I don't think I can put them in yet. Now, if they beat Bama and they beat LSU at home, you got to put them in.
Yeah.
If they beat Bama... And
if Vanderbilt beats Bama,
does a 9-3 Vanderbilt team get in?
No.
With losses to LSU, Missouri, Texas, or Tennessee.
Well, again, I have Texas going 9-3, so then it'd be between a 9-3 Texas and a 9-3 Vandy. Texas would have beaten Vandy, therefore I think Texas gets in. I don't think a 9-3. I don't think there's a world in which a 9-3 Vandy gets in.
I just want if Vanderbilt goes 9-3 with the schedule, put them in.
Just put him in. For the love of college football,
here's what you do.
Put him in. If Vandy goes, put him in the group of 5 spot. Just give him 12. Just give him 12. Let's be honest. Come on, it's a bylaw, right? It's a bylaw. But let us know in the comments which one of the 3, and you can go back through them and look at them, do you think is the most likely to happen where we stand in week 5? Let us know. Any parting shots here, fellas? Anything else?
It's just like I can't believe you picked UNLV to make it and they're undefeated and you didn't put them in here.
Again, I will say
you jumped off that shit quick.
I didn't jump off the shit.
Look at Jake.
No. Don't CNN me. Don't CNN me. What I'm saying is I picked UNLV before the season. They're still undefeated. They're 4-0. That's great. But my job here is to tell you realistically from what I've seen what is going to happen. And if Memphis goes undefeated with the rest of their schedule and UNLV goes undefeated, they're not putting both of those teams in. Memphis will have the stronger schedule. I think Memphis will have the stronger conference overall, especially if Boise State struggles and drops a couple more. I think they would put Memphis in. So this isn't what I want to happen, because if I did what I want to happen, my ass would have put Michigan in there. If I did what I want to happen, I would somehow have snuck Clemson in there, winning the ACC championship somehow. But that's not what this is.
I would have loved to see twist how Clemson would have made it. That would have been fantastic to hear.
Look, I can spin it.
This is the week. The turnaround happens now.
Yeah.
Now, hey, Dabo said, fire me if you don't like it. What are they going to do, fire him? I think he's right. Good God, y'all were okay when he got here. But he Jillian Michaels this thing. He got you in shape, looking good. Now you're walking around feeling great. You're talking to nines.
Move that bus.
Let's see it.
Move that bus, and it's Dabo Sweeney.
It's Dabo Sweeney, just with like a haircut.
Running at you.
They're running down the hill.
Again, make sure you like, subscribe, keep sharing the video. We appreciate you guys. Got Tim Brando tomorrow for our weekly picks on Wednesday. Go check all the videos we put out. And like the chances of me not being excited to see how this plays out, we're going. Gone. That was nice.